inland across the Carolinas, talking about winds upwards of 50 miles per hour, high surf, rip currents, the whole kit and caboodle, Tom.
That's right, and there is no better person to talk about this than Fox Weather storm specialist Mike Seidel. Mike is live in North Myrtle Beach, a soggy North Myrtle Beach. Mike, what's going on out there? Looks a little wet for you.
It's wet, it's windy, and somebody's alarm system at this restaurant just went off, so that just went off a second ago. We have gusted overnight 56 miles an hour at the Spring-Made Pier here in Myrtle Beach, and that's the highest gust reported so far with Chantal on land. Up in southern North Carolina, in Brunswick and those areas, they've gusted to 48 miles an hour. We're getting the tail end of the worst of Chantal. The center went in south of us at Litchfield Beach. Thank goodness that went off earlier this morning. And now we're just getting blasted with this horizontal rain. We're just off the beach, so I don't feel any sand, but you get a sense, maybe we can pan up to the flags here. With Alfred will pan up there, you can get a sense of how strong these sustained winds are. Running at about 30 to 35 miles an hour. We're still gusting well into the 40s. So far, Myrtle Beach Airport has had about 1.25 inches of rain. Wilmington has had, at last check, 2.25 inches of rain. Flood watches continue up here. And because the center is going to be tracking inland, they've now issued flood watches. The Weather Service out of Raleigh-Durham for a good chunk of the coastal plain and certainly the I-95 corridor in North Carolina, because that rain is coming on in. That flood watch goes until tomorrow morning, with that rain coming in a little later on this morning through this afternoon. So if you're driving on I-95, be aware you may run into what's left of Chantal as it gets downgraded later this morning, early this afternoon, to a tropical depression. Right now, they have weakened it at 5 a.m. to about 50 miles an hour. We'll have another update coming up at 8 a.m. We'll take a look at the street here, Main Street here in North Myrtle Beach, and boy, we're just getting whacked right now. But you'll notice on the radar, this is about it for the rainfall here. The wind's going to stay up quite a bit through the afternoon, and that's why the tropical storm warning will remain up at least another, say, 5 or 6 hours. Obviously, the beach is not the place to be today. We'll try to get out there with our next hit at 7 a.m. Eastern. Mike on time, and let you know and show you what's going on out there. But I can show you video from this morning. I shot this at about 3 a.m. this morning, and the wind at that point was basically blowing parallel down the beach, which here is almost north to south. And look at the sand blowing. I had limited light there, but boy, it was just you were just getting sandblasted out there. I was all covered with sand when I came off the beach, and the winds at that point were gusting about 40 to 45 miles an hour. In fact, that peak gust at Spring-Made Pier occurred about 4 hours ago, not with the core coming in, but about 4 hours ago. But we'll check the weather station here and see if we've had a higher gust with this really sporty squall that's hitting us right now here on the South Carolina coast. Mike on Tom.
Yeah, boy, oh boy, you are in the thick of things out there, Mike. This is Michael Estimate. Real quick, we were seeing some videos online, Mike, about some street flooding due to storm surge. Have you noticed any of that?
We've seen some street flooding, but not due to storm surge, just freshwater street flooding. Saw some of that coming over here because between about 4:30 and 5:30, we got a lot of rain, and we saw some ponding, but nothing from a surge perspective. I was out on the beach. High tide occurred about 4:30, but I was out there, and there was no water coming up over the dune or anything. So wherever if there is actually storm surge flooding, it must be in an area where there's a very narrow beach. And that's where it's happening, because nothing like that is happening here. And we didn't expect that to happen.
And Mike, it looks like a couple of power outages, but nothing too crazy at this point. Obviously, power appears to be on behind you there as well. That's some intense wind, but right now, from a power standpoint, looking good from your perspective?
Oh, yes. Yeah, we talked about that yesterday. I said we'd probably get a gust of 50 miles an hour. We did 56, and that typically doesn't knock out a lot of power. Now, there have been a few reports of some trees down, But that's the worst of it. And the rainfall and the bad beach day. So, we got a low to mid-range tropical storm, and this is exactly what you expect. 3 to 5 inches of rain, the higher numbers, the wind gusts 50, 55 miles an hour, and limited structural damage, and very little in the way of power outages at this point. So kind of a playbook tropical storm, at least in my mind here. Well, that wind is just coming right off the Atlantic Ocean. We'll try to get out there. I don't know if we can. Let me ask Lloyd. Lloyd, can we walk out? Are you comfortable walking out the path? Sure. Okay, we're gonna. Oh, we've got a wrap now.
Yeah.
Never mind. We'll get out there and show you the surf at 7 a.m. Eastern, and I think it'll be impressive.
Yeah, perfect.
I know it'll be impressive.
Oh, it will be. Mike Seidel for us in the thick of things along the Carolina coastline. We really appreciate the update.
Now in with Fox Weather Storm Specialist Mike Seidel live in North Myrtle Beach. Mike, how are things faring right now?
We are out here on the beach, and you can see the surf is still up, much like it was yesterday. A little choppier right now because we've had those 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts down at the Spring May Pier. That was in the middle of the night, not when the core came in. So it goes to show you what kind of system we had, that the wind was more spread out, and the highest winds were not right at the center. The center came in just south of here at Litchfield Beach, south of Myrtle Beach, and we got all the rain we need. 1 to 3 inches of rainfall so far, but look at where the rainfall is heavy right now. It's just inland, heading up towards Brunswick. In Brunswick County, you're under a flash flood watch, I should say flood watch, and flood watches extend all the way across 95 over to Winston-Salem, all the way up to Raleigh-Durham, back to Rocky Mount. So if you're going up and down 95 in the next, say, 6 to 7 hours, keep an eye on the radar. It's not going to be dangerous, but you need to slow down, and it will be at times gusty, and you will deal with some very heavy rain. So you'll drive through the tropical system. It really depends on your timing, but it's all heading inland up towards the Raleigh-Durham area, and they've got flood watches up until tomorrow morning. Rainfall totals at least 1 to 3 inches, maybe some higher totals, and that's typical with tropical systems going inland. The wind dies off, but the rainfall continues. It has to kind of rain itself out. As far as structural damage, we don't see any. We didn't expect much. I haven't seen any shingles blowing around, seen a couple of trash cans blown down the street, some chairs knocked over, and the rainfall, I mentioned 1 to 3 inches. We got it overnight, and then we got a big batch right as we got to landfall, 4, 5 to 6 a.m. It rained very, very hard here in North Myrtle Beach. The wind coming in from the east-northeast, eventually it'll go offshore as the storm goes by and clean up these sets, and I suspect the surfers will be out here at some point today. But right now, the best thing to do is not go in the water because it is so rough. You've got the longshore drift, and you've got those rip currents. So Michael and Tom, as expected, with a tropical storm of this nature, kind of played out as a textbook tropical storm, the first landfalling system of the season here on the U.S. coastline, whether it's the Atlantic or the Gulf.
Yeah, it's been interesting to watch, and also interesting, Mike, I'm curious your perspective. It looked like there was a little bit of strengthening yesterday. At times, National Hurricane Center said max sustained winds up to 60 miles per hour.
Well, my rule of thumb is, and has worked out pretty good over the years, if the advisory says the max winds are, say, 50 miles an hour, then you're going to get a gust of 50 miles an hour. So we had max sustained winds of 60. We got a gust of 56. So that's my rule of thumb, and it usually works pretty well. Again, you can't sample every wind gust in a storm, but this is based on Air Force reconnaissance and also sometimes scatterometer winds, but that's how it all works out. So we never got a sustained wind. In fact, the highest sustained wind I saw was 45 miles an hour. Tropical storm force is 39 miles an hour, and we did have that too at the Spring May Pier overnight, last night, early this morning.
That was interesting to watch, that's for sure. Mike Seidel, thanks so much for the update. We'll, of course, check back in with you in North Myrtle Beach in just a little bit.
I'm going to go right out to North Myrtle Beach right now. Our Fox Weather Storm Specialist, Mike Seidel, is live. Mike, tell us how those conditions are right now on the beach.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's windy, a little sand blowing around. The rain has ended, and we're 99.5% done with the rainfall. But the wind has gusted overnight 56 miles an hour just down the beach at the Spring-Made Pier here in Myrtle Beach. We're in North Myrtle Beach up the coast, and that's the highest gust we've seen reported from the storm. As far as sustained winds, highest sustained wind I've seen is 45 miles an hour, so that's just above tropical storm force of 39 miles an hour. Hey, you know, a lot of folks come to the beach, they have a great time, but they never experience a tropical storm or a hurricane, and we found a couple that have been to the beach before, of course, but have never been in a tropical storm. We've got a Coney Osbolent.
Yep.
How did I do?
That's correct. It's absolutely correct.
Oh my gosh. Now I can die happy. And Callie Osbolent.
Yes.
And you're from Quincy, Illinois.
Yes.
From the Midwest.
Right.
You've been to Myrtle Beach before. Have you been to Myrtle Beach?
No, this is my first time. He has.
Have you seen the Atlantic before?
No, I've only been on the West Coast.
Coast, because
Yes.
you're from Sacramento.
Yes.
So this is your first time seeing the Atlantic Ocean.
Yes.
What do you think?
Well, it's been a crazy experience because we didn't get to do much yesterday because of the storm as well, but it's been pretty cool.
And how about you?
It's
Taking
beautiful.
it all in?
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, I love the ocean in general, so being out here is really cool. But you know, seeing the winds and just the waves crashing and everything has just been really
It's
really
refreshing.
Cool. Absolutely, yeah.
Well, luckily it was just a kind of a mid-range tropical system.
Yeah.
So taking some video, taking some pictures.
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
My mom just told us when we were running out here, make sure you get a video of the waves so I don't have to get out of the car.
Oh my gosh, she's afraid of the sandblasting.
I guess so, yeah.
I mean, it's 77 degrees, although it doesn't feel like it with the wind off the water.
Yeah.
Now, when did you get to town? I didn't ask you that.
Friday.
On the 4th of July,
First
yep.
And you kind of knew about this coming?
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little bit. We didn't know the severity of it, but now we're driving home today, so we wanted to take one last
Driving
stop.
back to Illinois,
Yeah.
huh? Well, well, if you're going to go up through North Carolina, you may catch up with the heavy rain.
Yep.
Well, be careful on the interstates.
Will do, yeah.
So you had overall a pretty good vacation.
Yeah, it was great
Yeah.
short trip.
Yeah, it was a quick short trip, but it was good.
But you got to see the Atlantic.
Yes.
After seeing the Pacific.
Yes, at least it was nice on the first day we were here. 4th of July was very nice.
Right. Well, have a safe trip back, and thanks for joining us here on Fox Weather.
Thank you.
You're
Appreciate
welcome. Okay, there you go. A couple folks in their first tropical storm, and the gal, Callie, first time she's seen the Atlantic Ocean in her life. So, it's not that unusual. You live in the middle of the country, and you're landlocked, and they're actually from Sacramento, so they've been out on the Pacific plenty of times. So, Michael and Tom, there you go. Folks out here enjoying the wind and the surf, and we have gotten through this with very little impact. A little localized flooding here and there, power outages. Last time I checked, about 2,000 in South Carolina and about 700 in North Carolina.
Yeah, you know what's kind of nice too, Mike, is the fact that the rain that we're seeing, the spiral rain bands are actually pretty far apart from each other, so it won't be a whole deluge of rain. But I do want to point this out, Mike, that I'm looking at radar right now, and one thing I want to point out is the fact that the National Weather Service and the Storm Prediction Center has actually indicated that there's a very low-end chance that we could see perhaps a spin-up or two, and sometimes you may see that in some of those spiral rain bands.
Yes, that's possible. You have enough rotation, but those spin-ups are always on the weak side. EF zeros, rarely an EF1, and they come and go. In fact, they're really hard to get a warning out on because they kind of pop up and out of nowhere. Unlike when you have your typical severe weather and you have supercells and you can see them forming, and it's much easier to see that rotation and to get that warning out ahead of time.
Excellent. And so, Mike, you kind of classified this as sort of a mid-range tropical system, and interesting to hear from that couple there as well in their first tropical storm. Is that the general feeling you're getting from folks? Are you seeing a lot of folks leaving today, or are you seeing some folks still kind of sticking around, maybe hoping for some better weather in the days ahead?
Well, I really don't know, but I would suspect for what they're paying to stay here this time of the year, and if they're a weekly, a lot of the weeklies, I know where I'm from, the Maryland, Delaware coast, and I believe here it's Saturday check-in and check-out days. So they came in probably Saturday. Most of these people in all these hotels and condos that are rented in the beach homes, that they're here for the whole week, and you paid for the week, you're here for the week. And they know it's going to get better tomorrow.
Yeah, that's actually a good bit.
I want to say,
news.
yeah, this is one of those situations where something is blowing up off the coast. It's a tropical storm, forecast to become a hurricane, and it's coming this way. There may be evacuations. That's when people really start to check out and head for the hills. But that is not this kind of situation here with Chantal.
No.
Not a great beach day, but you make the best of it. There's plenty of restaurants and plenty of bars and plenty of seafood. Here in the Myrtle Beach they call it the Grand Strand area. So there's plenty to do, and shopping, the outlets.
Oh, yeah.
Not me personally. I don't get anywhere near the outlets. The only outlet I get near is an electrical outlet.
Well, get some shrimp for us. How about that? Get some nice seafood for us.
Please. Yeah, lobster on the menu or something like that. Mike Seidel for us, reporting live from North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Mike, thank you so much for that update. We really appreciate that. We'll check back in with you in just a bit.
Sweet. We want to check in with Fox Weather storm specialist Mike Seidel. He is live in North Myrtle Beach. Mike, are conditions starting to improve where you are?
Yeah, through the morning hours, we've seen the wind slowly back off, just slowly. We're still gusting upwards of 35 miles an hour on the beach. We're back off the beach right now. As far as the rain, that has come to an end. There's nothing imminent right now. And we'll look down Main Street, and you can see we've got some traffic. We got some folks that are out and about on a sunny morning, some heading to church. And it's not going to be certainly the ideal beach day, but it will be better than it was earlier. And we'll probably see a little bit of sunshine this afternoon as that drier air starts to wrap on in. In fact, I feel some raindrops right now. Let me take you back to 6:30 a.m. this morning here in North Myrtle Beach. And this is our first shot. And we were in the back end of the core, the center, or what was the center, of Tropical Storm Chantal. The center actually went in just to our south at Litchfield Beach, but the big area of moisture was along and north of the center to the right of where it came on shore. That's where you're going to find the highest rainfall totals, generally in the 1 to 3 inch category, although some of the areas inland have already seen over 3 inches. Some of the personal weather gauges, weather stations in parts of Brunswick County, that's the home county of Wilmington and Wrightsville Beach. Highest wind gusts I saw at Wrightsville earlier was about 48, just under 50 miles an hour. So we were standing in the same spot, but it was raining, as you could see, and it was blowing pretty hard right here. We did get a little bit of a channeling effect between the buildings, but still gusting over 50 miles an hour at that hour. So as far as power outages go, they're coming down. They never were very high. Here in South Carolina, they were around 2,000 customers, and now down to 1,100 customers. And in the state of North Carolina, they were, I believe, about 700, now down to about 300. So minimal power disruption, and thankfully it's warm out and it's not hot and humid out, and I suspect they'll get the rest of the power back on very, very quickly, and the winds are dying down. Still a tropical storm, but at 11 o'clock this morning, we expect that the National Hurricane Center will lower it to a depression and drop the warnings. We'll see how that goes, or they may hold on to the warnings just for a little longer, maybe till early this afternoon. Scott and Michael, slow improvement here, drying out, and everything went pretty much as expected for Chantal.
Yeah, and what'll be nice too, Mike, is the fact that there's a couple of nicer days ahead. If it was a washout of a weekend for folks celebrating the 4th of July, tomorrow and Tuesday look a lot nicer, right?
Lot like been a long 6 days. A lot nicer, yes, indeed. Yes, a lot nicer next couple days, warmer and drier. In fact, the southeast is going to be heating up. I noticed as I get back home in North Georgia, temperatures will be up in the mid-90s with no rain until Thursday. And as I mentioned earlier, just down the coast, it is a nice day. Hilton Head and south, Tybee Island, beautiful sunny Sunday morning. Charleston, kind of mostly cloudy right now, but no rain. In fact, hardly any rain as you got down towards the Charleston area.
Yeah, I was going to say, as you mentioned, kind of stuck in the thick of things right now. Fox Weather's Mike Seidel, thank you so much for the update. We appreciate that. We'll check back in with you in just a bit.
And switching gears over to Texas, where sadly